Man, this game is crazy. You know, you come out here 1 week, you look like a major champion. The next week, you look like a 25 handicapper from Crabapple, North Dakota. But
let's go, bro.
3 shots, 4 par, I just do 2, 1 putt, par 4, birdie, woo, new driver, info, replace, M2, par 5, fairway, what you fin do? Think I'll try to get on into, start right, good line, good view, it drew, shooter McGavin, 2 thumbs that's up high and 2 fingers pointed at you, pew pew, fairway to green, conk off that I'm playing. Sometimes these par 3 greens look like an island, a punch and to keep it on dry land, at least I might try, man, up with that 5 and might use the trap, man. I got a check, man, line tango ball speed, rated that backsman, and where that ball land. Watch that's on my hand, is yours not the time, man. Yeah, that's my garment. I feel like Ron, man. Not talking noodles, I'm talking about John, man. And Gary Woodland, stripes over Travis Fulton, got me striping like Dustin Johnson. 59 watchdog, the way that.
It's game time, baby. Episode 187 at the Obi South Texas Golf Podcast. Brucey. We'll see, Brucey. There you go. I think we're doing a count. That's one right there of how many Let's Goes Brucey has. That's one right there already.
I'm sorry, bro. It's like, dude, like I get so stoked, bro. Like, how can you not say let's go? Like,
there you go. That's 2. That's 2 right there. All right, guys. Tonight, our special guest is Ally Trevino. She is a high school coach. She is a collegiate golf coach. And she is a hell of a stick. She's a hell of a shot. All right. She's going to talk to us tonight about all things golf, SA golf, her amazing year that is still going on, and some of the things that she's kind of dealing with behind the scenes and some of her playing. But before we kick things off here, what's up, Sergio? How we doing tonight, man? Sergio Lozano right there. Good evening, Coach. LFG.
You see? Let's go.
But he did the acronym. That's 3. He did the acronym right there. He did the acronym right there. Sergio, what's up, my brother? All right, guys. Now, as usual, we are presented by Maximum Demolition and Dismantling. Big ups to our guy, owner operator Lee Ramos, Southside born, Southside raised, Southside operated, family operated. Hit him up at MaximumDemo.com. No job too big, no job too small for our guy Lee Ramos. He loves the dirty work. Any job they say can't be done, he will make the impossible possible. Make sure you hit him up at MaximumDemo.com. Also, we're coming live from the Texas Chancla Studios. Make sure you hit up our guy, Jesse Hernandez, at JesseHernandezLaw.com. Yes, he is that lawyer. He is the TikTok lawyer, and he's a golf hack, always living his best golf life. Make sure you hit him up at Jesse Hernandez Law at 210-807-8656. And don't forget our gimme sponsor right here, FOREBROS Tour. Never golf alone again. If you don't have a home, FOREBROS Tour has a home for you. Make sure, guys, you do not play golf alone. We got all types of games. Net, gross. We got skins, super skins, Keen of the par 3. Played the best course schedule out around town. That's FOREBROS Tour. Never golf alone again. All right, Brucey.
You're being hard, bro. I like it though, but you're good at that, bro. Like,
but it's not that I'm breathing hard. It's hey. Remember, look, new computer, bringing the mic back. So everything is kind of, it's, I guess, what is it, like by 2, by 3, right? And just, and I am, it's like I tell, it's like, okay, before we continue, guys, make sure, guys, warning, the views and opinions expressed by Brucey, myself, and our guest are not that of our supporters, of our sponsors. Make sure, guys, including language, Brucey's always drinking. You didn't have to snap tonight. You didn't snap open that can tonight, baby.
No, I didn't.
So make sure you listen at your own discretion. Brucey, what are you excited about having? What are you most excited about having Ally on the show tonight?
Because again, she's local. She's like
she's local, like she's crazy. She's crazy.
No,
she's crazy local about golf. Dude, okay, I'm not gonna say her email address to protect her, but it has Titleist and it has chick in the address, so that should tell you how crazy. And you know what? She posts, like, I guess. I know she's a teacher just like me. She posts like the most like dirtiest like golf memes out there, and I'm like, dude, this girl is like, she's like a dude,
she's
but
for golf.
She's a girl version of us in regards to golf. And I'm like, man, I'm over here like,
I was hearing her talking. Like, I was all, did I hear what I heard?
I'm over here like looking at her memes and stuff, and I said, damn, like she beat me to them. Like, these are good memes. I post hers, right? Like I repost hers.
Yeah, nah, dude. But like I said, man, like when you told me who we were gonna bring on, I did my due diligence, right? And I'm looking at her profile, looking at her Instagram, looking at her face, kind of
Her LinkedIn, her LinkedIn.
yeah, her LinkedIn. Let me look at her previous history, right? Like, no, bro. And I was just like, dude, this girl has achieved a lot. Like, she's like, wow, dude. Like, especially here in San Antonio, she's a local legend. I mean, she kept it in San Antonio. Like as I was hearing her talk, we're gonna hear her talk even more. But I'm just like, I love people who do that, bro. That are San Antonio raised. They keep their roots here. They keep it all about San Antonio. And it's like, bro, because everybody wants to leave. I come from a small town. Everybody wants to leave. So when a local legend like teaches or coaches, it's like, bro, like that's just awesome. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of opportunities out there. But for her to stay here and do it here, that's just awesome, bro.
Man, I'm gonna double down on your point right there. And speaking of keeping it local, right here, right there, presenting sponsor Lee Ramos is all right there. Surprise, right here. And again, it's local. It's all about local. This is a South Texas golf podcast. We try to keep it about SA's finest. We have them out there, and I think she's one. You know what? She looks way younger than her age. We're not gonna drop.
Yeah, dude, yo, don't. Yeah,
you
made me look old, bro. I was like,
she told us her age, and I was like,
no.
I don't know, man. Right? I don't know. Maybe her camera's taken away like some years, right? Where ours adds pounds, adds age, right here. Look, Lee Ramos, my guy. What's up, Lee? Don't forget, you have to hit us up and let us know because he's gonna.
We want to dismantle, bro. We want to dismantle.
He's gonna invite us out to one of his sites. Remember, Breaking Brucey is gonna be out there. That's gonna be the start of the new series, Breaking Brucey. He's gonna be out there.
But I want like a little hammer. Like I want a little hammer.
Right here, Kevin Easy. Look, there you go. I'm not gonna say it. There you go. That's 4 right there. Let's go, boys. Right there. Let's go, boys.
What I like when you talk about Maximum Demolition, you always say the pride of the South Side, proud of the South Side. Bro, when you hear stuff like that, people that are proud, like again, dude, I like that. I really do. I like people that take homage to it. They take pride in where they're from. So when they say I'm from the West Side, of course, remember I'm still new here. So people say I'm from the West Side. I'm like, how far west? Like I don't know what.
It's like this. Bro. It's like this. Like northwest, like like northwest, like 90 right here.
For real? I don't know what.
I-10 West, I-10 West right here. Michael Osman, welfare check on Brucey. Blink twice if you're okay. That beard doesn't look healthy, Brucey.
I'm trying, bro.
Stop, bro. Stop. Hey, stop right there. Stop, Brucey.
Let me go. Leo said I gotta hide my double chin. So I'm trying to give it.
I have a triple one. I'm trying to hide. It's all about camera angles. You know how it is, right? Yeah. Okay, guys. So we have a banger of a guest for you. She is a local legend, like Brucey said. She coaches in the area. She's all about that golf life. She's doing what she's in my profession, or I'm in her profession. And she's a hell of a stick, a hell of a player, a great person to top it off. She's not just a great golfer, just a great golf personality. She puts her money where her mouth is in regards to her golf game, teaching kids, showing kids the right way. And let's bring her on right now. I got Ally Trevino. Ally, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Well, I hope we talked to you up enough.
You guys
that was a big hype. That was a big hype.
It really was. It's going to be hard to kind of follow that, but y'all are so sweet. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. How have you been doing? I know we talked off air, and I know you got a lot going on. But how has this year been treating you?
This year has been a roller coaster for sure. It's not even over yet. Like I feel like it's kind of like just in the middle, right? So, I recently moved from Warren High School to O'Connor High School. Our O'Connor kids have been so amazing. Our girls team won the district championship, and our boys team won the district championship. And our number one boy ended up winning the entire district tournament. So he was the district champion, which hadn't been done in O'Connor history in like a decade. And so we're very proud of him. And he's only a junior, so he'll definitely be with us next. Yes, our trophies. Coach, so I am not the head coach. I am the assistant coach. And so Coach Abel Garza was the assistant at O'Connor. He was the assistant for 8 years. And then when Coach Brian Heath retired, he moved up into the position. And so when we won both the district championships, I was like, hey, I have to have one of those in my room. And he's like, no, I don't think so. Like, both of those are going in my room. And I was like, no. That's not how this works. And so I was like, you take one and then I take one. And so he was like, okay, all right. But so O'Connor has just been really rocking and rolling for me. And this is my 4th year at Our Lady of the Lake. And my girls did so good. We ended up winning our conference championship last week. We went to Kansas City, Missouri, and they won. And now we're going to go to nationals next week. We're going to go to Michigan, and we're going to get to spend a whole week there. And it's just been so amazing. And my son, I didn't tell you guys this earlier, but my son, since before he could walk, he's 11 now. I had taught him how to play, obviously. And then during COVID, we played so much that I burnt him out of it. And he was like, Mom, I'm not going to play golf anymore. I'm not a golfer. I'm a baller. And so, and it was like right after I had just bought him like brand new $400 clubs. And my heart was just like completely shattered. And here recently, he was like, Mom, I think I want to play golf. And I'm like, don't play with my emotions.
Don't do it.
I brought out those, old clubs that he never used. And poor baby, they were so small for him. And so, of course, I bought him a whole brand new set. And so he's starting to take that a little bit more serious. And so it's been a crazy year. It's been a good, crazy year. And I'm excited to continue and see where it takes me.
Well, Ally, Brucey just sold his clubs, so I'm sure your son's clubs that are too short for him, I know
probably good for me. Yeah,
they'll probably be great
11,
for
right?
Brucey.
11. I think 11 fits my height. I'm like,
I think the shafts will be perfect for him.
Well, the thing with me is that I don't ever get rid of any clubs. Like I will hang them up on the walls and I'll put picture frames around them. Like I don't ever throw golf balls away, like whatever vases I get, like I'll put, like it just becomes part of the decor. And so I can't part with his clubs because they're his and he's my baby. And so I'm sorry, Brucey, but
no, that's fine. I was looking for senior flex, but
hey, he was looking for senior flex, but junior flex will work, right? So one time, Ally, I'm at before we get into more of this to the side right here, I was at Ben and Alex's shop right over there at San Pedro, and they were working on putting some new shafts in my brand new irons. Well, I see some Project X, like graphite shafts, and I go and I go in the back and I'm like, I start gripping them and I'm like, I said, man, these feel pretty comfortable. And I said, hey, who are these for? And Alex goes, oh, it's for that 12-year-old kid out there. And I'm like, man, but they felt great. I said, I was like, I want some shafts just like these. He said, oh, yours are pretty close. Don't worry. And so, you know what? I know where the shaft, makes a big deal because Brucey and I, we've been talking about clubs. Yeah. Brucey's getting some new ones, but enough about us. All right. So, how is it being a boy mom and coaching girls and coaching boys? Do you have and obviously,
that was my question.
Obviously, and being a female, which do you favor maybe kind of coaching one more than the other, or feel comfortable? Coaching one more than the other?
So no, I don't feel comfortable more towards one or the other. The way that I look at it is I've been playing golf for over 25 years, which is longer than all of these kids have been alive. And so whenever I do tell them something, at the beginning, let me rewind for a second. So at the beginning of the year, when I moved to O'Connor, the very first meeting that I had with my kiddos, I told them, I'm like, look, this is what I did when I was in college. This is what I accomplished after college. And, I taught my son and I pretty much created his swing from scratch. I said, so when I tell you something, when I give you a suggestion, it's because I've done it myself or I've seen it proven to work. And so a lot of the times, when I do tell them something, a lot of my kids, I won't say all of them, but I will say a lot of them are very receptive. And what's really good is that as a female, I do sometimes feel like I have to kind of prove myself. And so I'll tell them, let me show you what I mean. And then I'll do it as an example. And so just being able to talk the talk and walk the walk, they're like, oh, okay, maybe she does know what she's talking about. And so they are a little bit more receptive to do what I ask them. But I mean, as far as girls or versus boys, I do find myself very comfortable with either of them. I don't have a preference.
Now, that I guess is kind of like, it's like for me, right? I'm a football coach that just so happens to have 2 daughters, but coach girls sports for everything else, right? For me, like it's kind of like in the seasons. I feel way more comfortable in the fall with boys, and then in the spring, I feel a lot more comfortable coaching girls, right? Now, as you've gone into this role now, what are your roles as an assistant coach, and do you really love being in Northside District?
So I do love being in Northside. I'm a product of Northside. When I first started teaching, I taught in SAISD, and I did that for 7 years, and I absolutely loved it. I just felt like I wanted to go back home, right? I wanted to go back to Northside. And so when I was able to make the transition, it has just been absolutely amazing. And I've been able to kind of improve and go to a new place every single time. And it's just been so beneficial for my career, and just my experiences have been just amazing. Really quickly though, I wanted to kind of circle back to what you asked me earlier about being a boy mom. So because I'm constantly on the golf course, sometimes I'll take my son with me to practice. And of course, he's at that age where he wants to hang out more with the girls. And so we talk about like being respectful
There's
and being
nothing wrong
polite.
with that, Allie. There's nothing
No,
wrong
I
with that.
know. And it's been great because, you know, a lot of times this generation, they're so used to like being on their phones and texting and talking behind a screen. And so I constantly tell them like, hey, go introduce yourself, shake their hand, look them in the eye.
Practice.
And he got to the point where he was like, Mom, I'm going to rizz up one of your girls. And I'm like, you will do no such thing.
Oh, dang.
Rizz
There you
up.
go.
What is
We
rizz
have
up? Hold on, but
to
what is
lay
rizz
the
up?
ground rules.
Yeah, tell us, what does rizz up mean?
What is rizz up? I mean,
You're
I'm
hip
old.
to the
Like,
game.
I hope he doesn't see this anytime soon, but just to like spit game, right? At the
Oh,
end of the
there you go.
Yeah.
See, look at Allie.
I'm gonna go holla
Allie.
at her. I'm gonna go holla at her. Right? Like,
And so I tell him, I'm like, you can tell them that they look beautiful, because every girl wants to hear that they look beautiful. But you do need to be respectful. And we've had that talk where, you know, because Mom is a coach, you know, as a coach's son, you have to act a certain way. And he's like, but Mom, and I'm like, there's no but moms. Like, he will not date one of my players. And so he's like, okay. And it's fun too, because for Our Lady of the Lake, we have 6 a.m. workouts. And so I get his happy butt up and he goes with me to go and work out, and he will go and run with the girls. And sometimes I tease the girls because I'm like, dude, he's 11. How is he outrunning you right now? And so it helps to kind of push the girls and to push him, because he gets out that energy before he goes to school. And then he's just a little bit calmer that day. So
there you go. There you go.
Well, I don't know, Allie. I've seen him. I've seen your post on social media. He hits balls in Crocs. I'm like, I said, I'm like this. I said, I don't know if I don't know if he's being raised properly.
So hold on. So we get him shoes, right? Like his foot is growing at a tremendous rate. And for a while there, I was like, hey, those shoes look really small. Like, you're walking funny. He's like, no, they're fine. They're good. And I'm like, no, let me. And I was like, let's go to the mall. Let's go get you some new shoes right now. He's like, no, Mom, I'm good. I really am good. And I'm like, okay. So then literally the next week later, like, he could not walk. And he was like, hey, Mom, what size are your shoes? And I was like, why? He's like, well, because like these 6.5s are just like a little bit too small for me. And I wear a size 7. And I have an extended shoe collection.
Oh yeah, your shoe game is on point. No, definitely. I play golf with you. Yeah, definitely.
He totally caught me like blindside, and he was like, Mom, do you think I can wear a pair of your shoes? And I'm like, you turkey. I was like, yes, but you can't let anyone step on them, and you can't crease them. And as soon as you take them, you need to clean them.
See, Allie, you're like one of us, Allie. Dude,
right?
You are one of us.
You got to take care of your stuff.
I just got a new pair of shoes for Mother's Day, and my son was like, Mom, I'm not going to wear them until after you wear them. And I'm like, thanks.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
But he's still pre-warning you that I'm going to use them, just not right now.
Well, yeah. And I'm like, you know, what's really good about this is that your foot is growing so fast that you're going to be out of my shoes before you know it. And he's like, no, it's okay, Mom, because then I'll just wear Dad's. And I'm like, good luck with that one.
So you talk about being a product of Northside. You're a proud graduate of Warren High School, and you coach there. Now, we talked about off the air how you felt like that was a place that you thought you would never leave. Hey, I'm home. And a lot of people, I guess, being a coach and, what I'm not from San Antonio, I'm from Corpus Christi, but I always, and Brucey and I talk about this, that he said, there's a few jobs that I would move back home for. And obviously it would be to be the head coach at my alma mater. Right. But you've made it there. You're back home. And it's just like, what brought on that change to make that switch?
So, I didn't teach. I've been teaching for 16 years. This is only my 3rd year in high school. I chose not to coach high school because my son was, we had just had my son and I wanted to be there for him when he was younger. And then it got to a point where at Warren High School, the previous coach, she was going to go to a different school. And so they were really kind of banging my door down saying like, hey, like this would be a great position for you. And so I was like, you know what, Landon's already old enough. Like, yeah, let's do it. And I literally live across the street from Warren. Like I would go home for lunch and I would let my dog out and I would eat lunch at home. And, there was one time where I pulled into the garage and the garage door opener broke and I couldn't get my car out and I didn't have enough time to like call someone or get someone to cover my class. So I just walked back to school. Like that's how close I am to the school. And so Warren was honestly something that, I wanted to retire there. I didn't really see myself going anywhere else. And it wasn't until the suggestion was made that I should go to O'Connor. And it literally took me a whole year to kind of wrap my mind around it. I'm like, I drive less than a mile to work. Like my mileage on my vehicle is great. Like I wouldn't put gas in my car for 3 weeks. And, wow. It was just like, it was perfect. I didn't spend money on, food because I would go home. Like it was really the perfect situation. So for me to kind of change that mindset to go to O'Connor, I took my son and he was at the school next to Warren and I moved him, next to O'Connor. And we really kind of just uprooted our lives to go and do this because I felt like it would be a really great opportunity. And I miss my kiddos from Warren, but I absolutely love what we're doing at O'Connor because we're doing some really great and amazing things. And I have plans to take them to the next level. I mean, every coach wants to go to state, and I do feel like we have a wonderful opportunity to do that. And yeah, I'm super excited.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Go for it, Brucey. Go for it.
No. So like as she's talking and I'm hearing college and high school and college and high school. So when you're coaching, how do you balance to where like, what do you coach the high school schoolers on that you don't teach in college or vice versa? Like, how do you differentiate between, I can talk about the basics maybe with the high schoolers, but then over here it's on a bigger level, or is it, hey, it is what it is and golf is golf?
So the golfers at O'Connor High School are very advanced, right? And so a lot of the stuff that I do with my Our Lady of the Lake girls, we do it at O'Connor. And the kids at O'Connor are very receptive because I'll straight up tell them like, hey, I was at practice the other day and this happened. Like, for example, we talk a lot about rules in high school, right? Because the kids in high school, they're just not very familiar with the rules, even though like the rules are literally at their fingertips and they can look them up whenever. But for whatever reason, rules are just not very common. And so I'm like, hey, what happens if you get bit by a snake on the course? And they were like, I don't know, do you suck the blood out? And I'm like, no, you don't do that. Like, what is wrong with you?
I'm over here like, what do you do?
What do you do?
But like when we were at Alsatian with Our Lady of the Lake, one of the boys who was from England, he got bit by a snake. And it happened to be like the one practice that Coach Arnie Martinez was not there at. He was like, hey, Coach, I'm going to need you to cover practice. And I'm like, I got you. It's good. And I get there and like right off the bat on the second hole, that par, the number 3, it's that par 3 right over that lake. He had kind of like hit it around the lake and it skirted around the lake. And he had put like one foot in the rough and something like bit him. And he like fell to the ground. He's like, in agony.
Where is this at? Is that GCT?
At Alsatian.
Oh, Alsatian.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
right, yeah.
the groups behind him, they're like, what are you doing? Like, get up, hurry up. We're waiting. And so he gets up and like a dingbat, he puts his foot in the exact same position and the snake bites him again.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, well, was it rattling? Like, did you hear, did you see it? And he was like, I don't know. Like, he's from England. He's not familiar with,
He ain't from Texas.
No.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, what happened? Because I saw him at hole 4, and then I didn't see him again until like hole 17. And he was like, well, like, it hurt a lot for about 8 holes, and I think I got a little hallucination here and there, but I mean, I'm alive. And I'm like, yeah, thank God. Like, you know, and so that made me like want to like look up the rules, right? Because like in Texas, how often do you guys see a snake on the golf course? And so I was talking about it with Coach Martinez, and he was like, I had read the rules. And so like, if you are in an ant pile, you get free relief. But if you are around an animal and you feel like you are in danger, but the animal can move, you do not get free relief. So you have to try and like scooch the animal away from you. But if you feel like you are in a life-threatening situation, you have to play it where it lies. And so these are the kinds of conversations that I have with my O'Connor kids.
Dude,
I like that.
Hold on. Game within the game, right, Ellie?
Right.
Game within the game.
It really is.
Dude,
and so like just a lot of the things that we experience with Our Lady of the Lake, I just kind of bring it down, and it's very kind of random. I know with my O'Connor kids, every once or so Fridays we'll have do's and donuts, and I'll bring donuts so that way they can come in. I'm not going to lie, they do help me clean up my classroom a little bit, but I do feed them, and we just talk about
honesty is key.
So, high school kids love snacks and candy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, man, I do. Brucey and I do too. We'll do a lot of things. We'll do a lot of sketchy things for a Klondike bar.
Oh yeah, we will. Yeah.
But you know, we'll just talk about like different rules like that, and you know, they'll bring up situations that they've been in that I never knew about, and I'm like, okay, well, next time that happens, you call me and you're like, Coach, I got bit by a snake, and I'll come straight to you, and we'll go from there. And so a lot of the stuff that we do, I do them with both, because you never know when you're going to encounter something like that.
Right here, I got Jared Garcia right here. Holy crap, that guy's tough.
Yeah.
What does that mean, Brucey?
4 through 18. Hole 4 through 18.
Oh,
yeah.
He kept playing.
Yeah, he kept playing.
Wow. She just said that he got bit on
I'm sorry. I'm trying to produce the show. Bruce, see, I'm trying to produce the show. I'm trying to like look. You know, I got several things going on.
Because that's what I was saying. I was like, Andy, you know, like, let's be real. Like, I mean, we're all girls.
Oh, I'm a baby.
Yeah, you would have been like,
no, I'd be the same thing. Hey, suck it out. Suck the poison out. But I'm gonna tell you. Okay, so these are great things that a coach brings up, and see, and this is where, as you know, I'm a middle school golf coach that we don't get the Pro Vs, you know, and Brucey knows there's certain people in certain cities that they're there for the Pro Vs. Allie, do y'all get Pro V1s with O'Connor on them?
So before I was there, they did not play Pro V1s. But once I got there, what's really great about Coach Garza
things changed, huh?
Wow.
He's a very great leader. But when I tell him that we should do something, and I am very what's the word?
Adamant.
I am very adamant.
Persistent.
He works with me. So when I got there, I was like, Coach, I only play Pro V1s, and he was like, well,
but did you have to give did you have to show results and say, like, this is the reason why we use Pro Vs, or just like, hey, I want Pro Vs and that's it?
So Coach Garza, he has known me for a little bit, and so he knows that when I do ask for something, that it is for a reason. And he's one of those guys where I don't have to tell him exactly why. He just kind of trusts me and takes my word.
See, that's what makes give and take. Yeah, that's what makes a great
results. But results are proven. Like, she has results to prove.
Oh, no. Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? Of course.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
I'd be like, here.
See, like, there you go, Allie. You can always go back and say, well, hey, like, when there's ever a disagreement, remember when I told you this?
Well, whenever there's a disagreement, he just kind of like gives me a box of Pro V1s, and I'm like, okay.
Damn, you know what, Brucey? This is what you need to give. This is what you need to give me when we have a disagreement. But he gives me like nitros or like FOREBROS balls right there.
Pinnacle golds.
So right here, we got some great comments. Guys, and thank you for chiming in. And we always want to make sure our guests feel like they're part of the show right here. Paul Sharp said Brucey will take his old clubs, but Paul, she said, hey, she don't give them up right here.
Hey, it's like those little boots, like when the kids wear those little shoes.
The booties, the little boots.
You hang them on your cars.
Right here, Robert Vasquez. LOL. I sold a set of stiff shaft clubs to Ally. LOL. And she still has them a decade later.
So I will tell you, he gave me some rifle shafts. They were Titleist. And I was like, I came up from the generation of it's not the arrow, it's the Indian, right? And so he gave me these rifle shafts. They were so incredibly heavy, but I made them work. I qualified for the mid-amateur. I took them all the way to Arizona. And then I pulled my sciatic nerve and the doctor was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I play golf and da-da-da. And he was like, dude, these clubs are so ridiculously heavy. But I was like, no, it's not the clubs. It's me.
Send Robert the bill. Send Robert the bill.
But Robert, yes, I absolutely. We actually played a tournament at Almost. And I know that you gave me like a set of questions and I was going to give him a shout out.
No. Nothing is OB, Ally. Nothing is OB.
Well, except when it's Brucey's in that chair. And with Brucey, everything is OB. Everything, Brucey gets offended by everything.
Well, so, I hadn't played in a while and I was going to play in the South Texas Amateur Tour at Almost, and I needed a partner, and I had been thinking about it for a while. And I mean, like when you play with a partner, like you have to play with somebody that you feel comfortable with. And so the
speaking of that, Ally.
First, why do you say that?
No,
I'll let you talk.
I won't. I'll stop you. I'll tell you right there. The running theme on this show is that Brucey is a bad partner. He doesn't know how to be a good partner. And so that's why, we always like, that's why Brucey, said something because and Brucey needs to take notes. Take notes. I am. Keep going. I'm sorry. Keep going, Ally. Keep going about you. Keep going about having a partner that you work well with.
Okay,
yes. Well, I've known Robert since forever. I would go to Alamo Golf Course before it was Mac Wiley, and he was working there, and we would just he would let me hit golf balls until whenever. But I called Robert and I was like, hey, come play with me in this tournament. And he was like, done, say less. And so we got to go play and we caught up, and it had just been a minute. And I was like, dude, we need to do this more often. Like, it's been way too long. But what's great now is that he is over at Lackland, and Lackland is like my absolute baby. I grew up playing golf there, and I would go play golf with my grandpa there. Like, I learned how to play golf there. And
see, you play in the men's groups with them there, right? Because I always notice and I always see your name on the golf cart.
Yeah.
I always see your name on the golf cart. Is there like a certain group of guys you play with, and do you have to give them strokes?
So they're called the Gaggle. They are the greatest group of men that I have ever known and played with. And I've been playing with them. I've literally been playing in the same foursome for about 25 years. And they have seen me grow up. They've seen me become a mother. And now that I'm starting to beat them, only because they're getting up in age, I do give them a little bit of a break, but not much, because they know that I've waited years and years and years to get to this point, and they were always kind of like the group that I strive to be against and beat. So, but yeah, they're
awesome.
Great group of guys.
So Ally, I have a quick question for you, going back to playing partners, right? So you're I imagine you're a scratch golfer, or you're within that
Don't
range.
ask her about who hits first. Don't ask.
No. I'm asking who hits first. What I'm saying is that I'm a high handicapper. If you and I are together and we're trying to use my handicap, would you assume that you're the team captain because you're the better golfer? Like, would you take that and say, hey Bruce, like, hey man, I'm gonna let you go first. I'm gonna let her
talk, bro. Let her talk.
But what I'm trying to get at is that
just let her talk.
Would you put me on your back and carry me?
So I don't see it like that. It's definitely an experience, depending on where you play. Like, if it's a course that I know, I'm going to give suggestions and hints to the best of my abilities. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're a team, right? And we have to work together to reach the common goal. And the common goal is to, get 20 under. Because I feel like if you're playing with a partner, 20 under is probably. Damn. I mean, like, because you do, like, how many times? Well, how many times have you gone to a tournament and it's like they shoot birdie every hole and they've eagled every par five? Like, that's
it's more and more common now that you see teams are in the 40s now, right?
Yes.
Now.
Yes, and I'm one of those people where I grew up playing golf when Tiger was in his prime, and the best quote he ever said was, I don't go, I go into tournaments knowing that I'm going to win, because why else would I go and play in a tournament and waste my time and my money? Right. So when I go into, when somebody asks me to go into a tournament, like I, one, have to be in the right mental headspace, but two, I have to know like, okay, I'm going to win this, because why else would I take time away from my son? Why else would I invest my money into something other than what I should be investing it into? And so, yeah, like I go in there with the mindset of 20 under or better. And so when we don't reach it, I'm like, damn, well, how do we fall amongst second place?
Yep.
I love it.
Right there.
I love it's that Tiger Sunday red mentality right there.
And I still wear red and black every Sunday.
Oh, how can you not? How can you not? Right? Like our generation, like we just see that.
I mean,
okay. Right. So I got a lot of great comments here, and I'm gonna try to cipher through them. Right. Look, here you go. Rudy Jaimes, ma'am, please say hi to me. Can you say hi to Rudy?
Hi, Rudy.
There you go. And so, right here, okay. You know what? Like I said, and this is what the point I'm getting to. Being a girl dad, I'm a father to two beautiful young ladies, and you're not a bad looking. And I say young lady, like if you're younger than me, you know what? You're. I can call you youngin, right? And you know what? You're not a bad looking lady. Is there any stereotypes that you have to kind of like, I guess, kind of like defeat or overcome with people think, oh, she's just a pretty face, or, you know what? Are you like I even had a comment right here. Mike Osman said, I thought that was Paige sporadic for a second there. like, is there some things that you have to like kind of combat in that regards?
I mean, yes, to answer your question, but growing up with my grandpa teaching me everything that I know now, he always kind of gave me those heads up about how to handle certain things. And so, you know, you want to handle yourself with class, and you want to just kind of let your game speak for itself. Like you don't need to say that you are going to win other than when you're on a podcast. But, you know, you just kind of have to be the quiet and silent type and just let your game speak for itself. And so a lot of times, when I go to a course where I'm not familiar with, there will be the occasional comment like, oh, the ladies tees are up there. And I'll be like, thank you for letting me know. And as I tee off from the blue tees. And so, but I'm also one, you know, I like to wear my Lululemon skirt, and I like to, I'm old school. I like to wear ribbons in my hair. And, you know, I just kind of like to look the part, because if you look good, you feel good, you're going to play good. Right.
Thank you. So, that's my saying. That's
Bruce, stop, Bruce. See, this is what coaches say. And I always tell the kids, I said, hey, look good, feel good, play good. And then even if you don't play good, hey, well, at least you still look good, right? At least you still look good.
Somebody told me that. Somebody says, hey, you dress like you're in the 70s. You walk like you play in the 80s, but your game is in the 90s. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It is, because I do like to dress up good. Like I like to match, and I'm Nike'd out too. And
there's nothing wrong with that. It's like I guess those are the things that have kind of replaced the other competitive sports we used to play, and now we can only golf, right? And well, here I got some great comments right here. I know you know this guy, Jamie D. Smith, PGA right here. Let's go, Coach Ally Trevino. Let's go, Our Lady of the Lake right here.
Jamie's a good guy. My son is actually in the junior PGA, but it sucks though, because like I paid the fee, and like he went to the very first class, and then we haven't been back since, because that was literally like the first practice was like I had just gotten off the golf course from high school district tournament. We win district, then the boys play district, they win district, and then we go to regionals. We didn't do so hot regionals, but that's okay. And then Our Lady of the Lake goes to conference, and so it's just like we boom. So we've just been going back to back, and we've just been going so hard that I haven't been able to take him back. And so Jamie was like, hey, I need your help this weekend on Saturday. And I'm like, I got it, coach. And so this will be our second practice.
Right here. Curtis Spillman, my kid's PGA junior team plays a scrimmage with O'Connor at GCT on Saturday. So right. Okay. Now we're bringing up, you know what, we're talking about, you know what, you got PGA Junior and Golf Club of Texas right here. Now, hopefully, Brucey, you can help me kind of make my way around to this point right here.
Go ahead.
So some of the courses have not been up to par here in San Antonio. And it you know what, some of your pictures from your celebratory pictures, right, with you and your squads playing at BRAC. And I'm not trying to be, I'm more of like, hey, let's just, if the glass is half empty, let's say it's half empty. Like if the glass is half full, let's say it's half full. But the courses look pretty rough. And for district play, played at BRAC, played at Riverside, almost is, and Brucey played there the other day, almost is on the way back. And I think they gave it 5 days to rest, which is what was definitely needed. What were your thoughts on playing like competitive at a high level, you know, a district play at some courses that might not be up to par?
Right.
So when they make the decision for district, they make it back in August, right? And definitely. Back in August, like the courses were in relatively good shape. And so to kind of determine and be, you know, a fortune teller and be able to tell what's going to happen in the future, that's really difficult. When they made the decision, I think they made the best decision possible for everyone, right? And so when we went a few weeks before district to go and just kind of check out the course, we had to be in the right mindset. Now, going back to me and Robert, we had played at Almost and I had saw on Facebook that the greens were terrible. And so I had screenshotted it and I sent it to Robert and I was like, hey, we're going to play tomorrow and this is what the greens look like. I said, I've already paid my $150. I have a babysitter. We're ready to go. Like I am ready. And so I had to get into that mind frame of, look, the greens are going to be shitty and I have to stick it close to the pin and 2-putt max. And if I go through some stuff, then just make sure you hit it firm and straight to the hole. And we ended up shooting 3 under. You know, and it was, we still didn't win anything, but, you know, it's that mindset. So getting my girls and my boys ready for district, knowing that there was a lot of sand on the greens, I'm like, what's really great about this, guys, is that we practice at Cedar Creek. Cedar Creek greens are super, super fast. So this is nothing like our home course. This is going to be a lot easier. You guys have an edge up on everyone else because y'all are used to those fast greens. So play everything relatively straight. There's not going to be a whole lot of break and just throw darts at the pin. And that was, I think, one thing that we had over everyone in our district.
I love that.
Awesome.
I love that.
That's awesome. I'm freaking out over here.
That's great. That's great coaching because, you know, as a coach, you think about how you can give your kids or your team that edge, right? Yeah. And I love it. You made it less about the course and more about them and their strategy,
and like not making excuses. Like not making
exactly. And I know that Alamo City Golf Course, like they don't intend on having the types of greens that they have from time to time. But I mean, that's just the situation that we're in when we don't get rain or when they don't water enough or when they overseed. I don't know all the science behind it. I just know I paid money for this tournament. I have a babysitter. Like I'm here. I'm ready to play. And so everybody has to play through it. Everybody's going to be pretty comparable to the same experiences. It's who can do it the best. And so in that regards, right? Because I've talked to some TAPS coaches and some TAPS athletic directors as well, who had, and there were several district tournaments that were held at Riverside, and Riverside's, they were pretty bad, right? Yeah. Now, on the other hand, I've seen middle school tournaments played at Golf Club of Texas. And I'm like, I look at that and we know that I think Riverside is fairly, Brucey shot well there. I've shot well there. Yeah, we know Riverside can be a course where you can really go out and go low, right? You can go low there. Yeah. Now having some district tournaments or played at Golf Club of Texas, how is that, I guess, different because you're dealing with some different greens. And like you said, even for your kids and playing at Cedar where maybe they're harder. The courses obviously it's like the gem right now of Alamo City. The greens aren't as receptive. And then you have that zoysia grass where people always, you know, it's quirky grass. And then, you know, dealing with that zoysia, how is it different in regards to, I guess, playing some tournaments there and then going to like a Riverside, going to a BRAC and going to an Almost? So I definitely think that that's where having a good knowledgeable coach comes into play because, you can't compare Riverside to Golf Club of Texas. And I don't say that in the sense of like one is better than the other. They're just completely different right?
courses.
So if we took like Golf Club of Texas and Cedar is super undulated. There's hardly a flat surface anywhere. Even in the fairway, you're not going to get, you know, a pretty even surface just because there's rolling hills. Whereas at Golf Club of Texas, there's hardly any trees. You can spray it any which way and still have.
I'll find it. I can find them.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I found them.
Andy's good at finding his balls out in nightgrass.
Nah, I'm not finding them.
But you can still get to the green. You know what I mean? You can hit the ball right down the middle at Cedar and still lose it just because it'll flow to a certain area, and you have to know how to play it, and you don't have to hit your driver on every single hole at Cedar. Whereas at Golf Club, you could go for every par 5 and 2. And so I think just knowing the course and having good course management will help you to play the best that you can possibly play. Because if you go into Cedar thinking that you're going to bang driver off of every hole, you're going to lose every single time.
I like that, man. Andy, I'm liking the fact that like how we talked about earlier that some high school coaches do it because of the siphon, they do it because of the freebies, they do it because of the gear or whatever the case is. But like as she's talking, if I played for her, I would be like, man, like my coach wants it as bad as I do. My coach is teaching me as much as she can teach me.
You know what? It's Allie. It's all the perks, right? Like it doesn't say, hey, there's nothing bad. There's nothing bad about being a coach and being out at Northside, having a home course out at Cedar Creek, playing courses like almost, you know, at iconic courses, Golf Club of Texas, you know, that Northside. Now, does your style change at the high school level compared to the collegiate level? Because you did play in high school and you played at St. Ed's, so you played collegiately, and you said you even made it to nationals as a player. Now you're making your way to nationals as a coach. I understand coaching is coaching. I don't, you know what, being in the profession 22 years, don't get me wrong. But is there something that maybe you have to dumb down, or you have to, you know, treat things differently, or what?
Definitely. Before I answer that question though, at the district tournament for O'Connor, we got done playing and this really big burly looking dude like walked right up to me and he was like, "Are these your kids?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And I mean, like I was ready to throw down just kind of the way that she was.
Yeah, love it.
And he was so sweet though. He was just like, they are so polite and they are so well mannered. And I'm like, thank you. And we just kind of started talking. And he was just like, so how do you like coaching? And I was like, I love it. I really do. I said, but it's very much like waving a piece of steak in front of a dog. Like I'm here, I'm out on the course, but I can't play it. And he's like, huh. And so he started asking me about my game. And I was, you know, just kind of telling him some things. And then he walks away. And I assumed it was because he was getting ready for his tee time. And literally 5 minutes later, in front of all of my boys, he goes, "I'll give you $20 if you hit my tee shot." And I was like, tying my shoelaces. I was like tucking my shirt in. And so like all my kids are
cracking your back.
And they're like taking bets. And I'm like, betting is illegal until y'all turn 21.
Oh, there you go.
Let me take the bet for you.
Disclaimer.
But I mean, I had to, but I completely smashed it down the middle of the fairway. And that was definitely some street cred on my part because the boys were like, "Dang, coach." And I was like, and I didn't warm up and I'm this old and whatever.
See, you have to show them every now and then, but sometimes it's hard for somebody like it up in age that just to do it like on point. I know how I am in football. Sometimes I'm like, hey guys, I got to get through the stretches too, just so I can show you how to beat Choppy John, how to get through the speed ladder and things of that nature. So sometimes, do you have more wins and losses in that regard? So we're here, kid. Guys, girls. Let me show you how to do this.
I'm very humble, right? Like I'm not going to hit the perfect shot every single time. So if I do hit a bad shot, I'm like, hold on, give me a second. And, you know, I'll try to correct it. I mean, we're all human. We make mistakes. But when we like did our practice round, you know, Coach Garza, he was like, "Coach, why'd you bring your clubs?" And I was like, who else is going to model the perfect shot for them on every hole? Like, why didn't you bring your clubs? And he was like, because I didn't think about that. But like I try and I go out and I play with them as much as I possibly can. And I'll bring my son and we'll go play. And, you know, the other day.
Yeah, you have to make the most of it.
Yeah, you do. Because I mean, I'm out there so much. Like I'm glad that you guys can't smell me because I smell like bug spray right now because I just got off the course practicing with the girls for Our Lady of the Lake. And so the one really good thing about being the assistant coach is that I don't have to wear the head coach hat and I can still kind of mess around, and practice with the players whenever I want.
Just say it. You get to hit more balls as an assistant. You get to hit.
I
to hit more.
And then when they tell me to do stuff, I'm like, man, that sounds like a head coach job, and I just walk
You put that back on Arnie, right? Put it back on Arnie.
More so on Coach Garza. Coach Arnie, he kind of already knows how I am.
So right here, I got JR Garcia. Amen, coach. Firm and straight through, anything in the way. Love the mentality and the teaching right there.
You have to be aggressive, right? Scare money, don't make money. That's another credo that I use, but I like that you're
But you're scared. But you're scared.
I am scared. I'm very scared. I'm because Ali, my game is not where I need it to be. So when these guys are telling me, hey man, take these bets, and I'm like, bro, like, he's a 12. I'm a 21. I can't take this bet. Take it, bro. Just take it. You have to learn how to get better. And I'm like,
tell him what happened. Tell him what happened Monday. Tell him what your playing partner said to you on Monday.
Yeah, but Ali, I just
say it. Tell him what they said about.
He says you're handicapped. You say you're 21, but you don't play like a 21. You play like if you're a little lower. But Ali, I believe in pressure burst pipes. I believe that when you're.
But pressure makes diamonds too, Ali. Pressure makes diamonds too.
How do you like when you let's go back to when you were talking about do's and donuts. How do you prepare these kids to say like, hey, like I would get nervous while I'm putting for birdie, and I still get nervous because I'm not regularly putting for birdie. So to get your kids set to like say, hey, it's just a birdie, like these should come natural to you. So you shouldn't be nervous about missing. I mean, putting a 5-footer for a birdie or a 6-footer or so and so. So how do you, going back to the do's and don'ts and these like putting your kids in certain situations, how do you teach them mentally, hey, to be prepared for these heavy moments?
So I think a lot of it has to do with knowing your kids, right? So when I first got to O'Connor, I didn't really know the kids. And so we had these meetings at the very beginning of the year. And I was like, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to play golf in college, or do you want to just be the best high school golfer you can be? Or do you just want to make the team? Or do you want to just do this because your mom and dad are doing it? Like, you have to kind of know what their motivation is, right? And so if you are standing over a 3-footer for birdie and you're just kind of doing this because mom and dad want you to do this, my advice to you is going to be very different from the player who wants to play in college and he's going to make this putt to shoot in the 60s for the first time. You know what I mean? Because those two motivational speeches are going to sound and look very different. Right. And just to kind of go to the kid that, as a player, at any time I send over a birdie putt, my heart kind of flutters just ever so slightly. And so what I do is I will share like my experiences with my players. Like I told them, I was like, I got this watch, and this is like the first watch that could tell your heartbeat. And so I had it, and I was playing in a tournament, and I was so nervous off the first tee. And I tell the kids, it's good to be nervous, because nowadays I feel like there's so many kids who are like, well, I have anxiety and I need to take my medication, or I have ADHD and I need to take and there's a pill for everything now. And so for us, we just had to embrace all of that. You know what I mean? There wasn't all of these kinds of pills and medications back when we were growing up. And so I'm like, if you're nervous off the first tee, that's good. That means that you care. That means that
you have emotion. You have emotion, and you show emotion.
You need to harness all of these butterflies, and you need to just put it through your swing. Make sure that you keep your head down. Don't go right off the tee and whip it. I'm like, but you need to channel all of that energy and just smack the shit out of the ball. And so I told them, I'm like, I got this watch when it could tell your heartbeat. I said, so when I was playing in a tournament off the first tee, I literally felt that my heart was just beating out of my chest. And I was like, do you know what your heart rate should be when you're full on sprinting, working out? And they were like, well, no, duh. And I'm like, well, it should be 120. I said, I was standing on that tee box 15 minutes before my tee time. I got my scorecard. I introduced myself to everybody. So 20 minutes later of just standing stagnant, not doing anything, I look at my heart rate. My heart rate's 150. And so just knowing that all of that's going on in my body, I'm like, all right, this is do or die. You either knock the shit out of it or you embarrass yourself. So what are you going to do? And so it's kind of one of those things where I hope none of my kids are watching this, but you either nut up or shut up, right? And so,
let's go.
All right. Okay. So as you say, nut up or shut up, I got a bunch of comments here that a lot of times people are chatting about other things, right? The background right here. So I got Noe Olivares Jr. Andy, read the comments, bro. Right? So again,
I was
right?
going to advertise the
Now my heart
podcast
beats
to my
150.
kids, but I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay, so I'm reading some right here. Ma'am, can I cut your grass right here? Right here. Okay, and I have to, because these guys are gonna get mad at me right here. All right. So right here, look. Brucey, in regards to scared money don't make money, Brucey has never used that motto.
No, I've
and
never.
This is true because he's scared. And Rudy Cadillo, scared money doesn't make money unless asking for pops, because that's one thing Brucey always asks for pops. Yeah. He does.
I will say that, like, if I'm put in a situation where they're asking me to bet and I don't think that I can put my money where my mouth is, I'll be like, hold on, let me play from the red tees and then we can talk.
Right?
And that's okay. And that's what I told Brucey too. I said, Brucey, go to the red tees.
Yeah.
Go to the go to the red tees right here.
The goats. Give me the goats, at least. Give me the goats.
Right here, look and see. These guys are getting mad. Leo Camarillo, Andy, as VP and official male model of Nothing Is OB South Texas Golf Podcast. Read some comments, right? That's what they want me to do. They want me to look. Yeah, Jordan, you're OB on a show where nothing is OB. But guys, it has to be relevant to the conversation, right? Exactly. It's got to be relevant to the conversation right here. So as we talk about how pressure bust pipes and how your coaching style. Yeah. Now, where do you think the state of golf, coming back to golf here in San Antonio, where do you think the state of golf here in San Antonio is in regards to maybe like junior level, high school level, and we ask for female collegiate level? How do you think, if you could tell us on those three levels, the state of golf here in San Antonio is?
So I think that golf has just exploded since COVID, so much so that I almost kind of hate it, right? Like there's too many people on the course sometimes, and it takes a long time. But I mean, it is a business, right? And so people have to make money. It is what it is. But I think that, as far as junior golf is concerned, it's just been so amazing. My son, when he was a few years ago, he came home one day and he's like, Mom, guess what? And I was like, what? And he was like, we got to play golf at PE today. And I'm like, what? That is so awesome. And I was like, well, did you swing for them? Because this was when he was a baller, right? He was no longer a golfer. And so he's like, well,
it's cool. It's cool to be a golfer now.
And so cool. He was like, yeah, because he asked if like anyone knew how to play golf. And so I raised my hand and I went up there and he was like, Mom. And we have this thing in our house where he's not allowed to curse, even though I let a few curse words slip from time to time because I get too excited. But he's like, Mom, can I curse? And I was like, yeah. He goes, I knocked the shit out of the ball.
See, okay. Awesome. Okay, as a coach and a teacher, I say, you know what? I say a cuss word or a curse word when I feel like it's appropriate, right? Oh, yeah. Right. And I'm like this, you know what? Like I'm kind of, and I do the look around. I said, we didn't come. I was like, because sometimes we play in Fredericksburg, and I'm like, we didn't come an hour over here to get the shit kicked out of us, like, but I'm over here still. I'm still like, I'm like, it's about the appropriateness of the cuss word right here.
Yes.
Right here, Michael Osman. Andy, ask her as someone who can't read the greens, how can I get better at it? That is for you, Andy. And gosh, I've been struggling with the putter. I have been struggling with the putter, and it's I had a bad round. I had a bad putting round, and that's not even it, because I thought I putted okay. I had some bad moments in regards to some clutch putts that I left short, or I didn't trust or read properly, but putting has been the Achilles heel of my game. So that's a great question.
It's because you putt with like a ladies putter. Does it make a difference?
No, okay, because Claudia, Brandy Joe took in one of Claudia's putters to Ben's to go to sell. And I said, hold on, this is like the perfect length for me. And it looks like it's like a 31, right? It's like it's a 30, 32, 33. And it's like worn out right at the perfect part of the putter, and I'm like, if this was good enough for Claudia, and you play with Claudia a good amount of times, won some big tournaments, that the putter probably has to be good, right? Yeah.
I will say that what I try to do is I try to take all of the excuses out, right? And then that's how I coach. That's how I play. That's how I coach. And so I was talking with Arnie Martinez. He's the head coach at Our Lady of the Lake, and he putts with a Bettinardi putter. And I was like, why is that putter special? Like, why do you use that? And he was like, because, you know, there's no loose screws, right? Or there's no screws. He's like, Scotty Cameron, they have a whole bunch of different moving parts. And at any point in time, any of them can come unloosened. And the next thing you know, it's not your fault, it's the putter's fault. And so I try to control what I can control. And then I let Jesus take the wheel, right? And so I got a Bettinardi putter. One, I absolutely love it because it has a Notre Dame play like a champion, even though I'm not a Notre Dame fan, but just that phrase in itself, play like a champion, like you're going to just know that every time you putt with that putter, you're going to putt like a champion. And so just having that mindset and knowing that if I fuck up, it's not because of the putter, it's because of me. And then I take ownership of it. And so
Leo, I need a putting lesson. Okay, I'm gonna say what everybody's saying. Ally, like, I'm in love with you. Like, I mean that right, like the perfect chick does exist, guys.
Right?
She does.
I
She
know.
is out.
The
right?
testing, the competitiveness is
The
like,
Nike, the Pro
yes.
ones.
Hey,
oh my
all my
gosh!
shoes.
Oh my gosh!
dude,
It's
literally,
true.
you can share shoes. Like, I think we were the same size.
No, Ally, I
Oh,
think your
yeah.
foot is actually a little bit bigger than Brucey's. That you can't.
Well, I'm an 8.5 in women's, but it's a 7 in men's, but 7 in little boys. So sometimes I get that discount if I buy the little boys, Jay.
Oh,
See,
there you go.
that's what Brucey and I do.
2 for 1, 2 for 1. But hey, so my question is going to be this, like, and I think it makes a difference. Maybe you can say I've been in those situations. It doesn't make a difference. Again, if you were in a school that didn't give you all the amenities, you didn't have the Pro V1s, you didn't go to Cedar,
Great question.
you didn't go to these bad courses, right? And let's go back to like people that train the hard way, like they use like just made up weights, and people that have all the gym to themselves. So in your golf world, if you think that you were at a school that wasn't fortunate enough to give you all these amenities, do you think it would be a crutch, or do you think it'd be like, hey, you know what, we work even harder because we would want to push ourselves to get the Pro V1s, to say, hey, we deserve to go work at simulators and get some simulators or mats or whatever it is? Like, do you think that if you were at a less fortunate school, it would make an impact, or it would be
So to answer this question, I've lived it, right? It all goes back to mentality. Golf is a very mental game, and it's what you make it, right? And so if you think that you are less fortunate, that you don't have any resources, then that's how you're going to play. You're going to play exactly like that.
victim mentality.
Very much so. Yeah. So as I mentioned, I worked in SAISD. I coached golf at Lanier High School. We won district championships there. We didn't have, like, we practiced out at Riverside before it was redone, and it was beautiful. I actually haven't played there since then because I don't visit that part of town anymore. I don't work over there, so I don't need to. But you know, we would go to the football field because the football coach was like, you can go practice in that area, not on the football field, but over in that area. And I don't know all of the things that they use for football, but there was like a contraption where there was 2 bars, right? And so what we would do is we would practice hitting over that bar. We would practice hitting under that bar. We would practice.
Yeah, your form and your stance, like your pad level. That's what it is. It's your pad level.
I would tell them, I'm like, here, you are hitting through trees right now. And so we would practice going through that. And then when it was raining, we would go out there, and they had the long jump into the sand. Now, I never told the coach at the time, but that's where we practiced our bunker play. You know what I mean? And so it's all
making everything work.
Yeah. It's about what you have and utilizing it for your resources. And so, yeah, we didn't have all of the great things that we have at O'Connor right now, but guess what? We still made the best with what we had. And so even though we didn't have Pro V1s, guess what? I had a lot of donors who would donate stuff. And so I would get them Pro V1s for the district tournament, or I would have people donate, you know, shirts and hats and gloves for whatever. And I would find stuff that was probably 20 years old, and I'd either reuse it or I'd throw it away, and I would use my money to get them stuff. But I came from an area where we weren't given everything. So whatever we had was what we had, and we either made it work or
best of it. Yeah.
And
Damn.
so
I love that mentality. I love that mentality, Ally.
I mean, it's just I grew up over by John Jay, and you know, my grandparents, they still live over off Marbach. And so like it's an area that is, you know, has a special place in my heart, and it always will. But we didn't have the fancy things, and there's nothing wrong with making them work for what they want, because guess what? Out of that, I went to college. And even, you know, in college, my grandpa, I was like, hey, Gramps, do you think I can get like a new set of clubs? Like, I think I'm going to take this game serious after getting a scholarship. And he's like, you know what, Mija, I really want these new Titleists that are coming out. You can have my own Titleist. And I'm like, All right, fair. And it wasn't until I got like a big girl job that I was like, okay, I want my own time. That's where I got my email from. Cause like I wanted new Titleists ever since I had gotten to college. And so, you know what? Yeah, I am a Titleist chick and I freaking own it.
Damn.
I love it right here.
Owns it, she said.
Love it right here. Okay, so Curtis said, all right, I didn't give you a chance with Mike Austin's question. I didn't give you a chance to answer. Okay, so junior golf. How is junior golf? How your thoughts on how junior golf is? And you were talking about the boom in regards to COVID and how, you know, you're like a lot of us who have been golfers before COVID. You know, now you have to share this space with everybody else.
Yeah. I think it's great. I would like to see golfers take up the game sooner. Like my son, when he came home from 3rd grade and was just like all excited, you know, like I had gotten, you know, flash forwards for when he is hoisting up the Masters trophy. And then they go back to that, you know, that video where I taped him where he was in diapers and he was just swinging the plastic golf club. You know, I would love to see junior golf start at an earlier age. And so one thing that I did with Coach Abel Garza at O'Connor is we got together and we have the Beltway Tour. And it's something that we do during the summer. And it's for ages 4 to 19. And so every Tuesday in the mornings, we have an 8 o'clock shotgun. So that way the kiddos get done before like the heat of the day. We go and we play. And, you know, as you can see, the championship, I'm still biased to the Hyatt. I love the Hyatt. I grew up playing there. I'm a little bitter towards it right now, but I still.
Why are you bitter? Let everybody know why you're bitter about the Hyatt. You told us why. You told us why off air, but why are you bitter in regards towards the Hyatt?
So I worked at the Hyatt when I was in high school. I learned how to play golf at Gateway Hills, Lackland. My grandpa would make me walk up that number 9 hill and number, not so much 18, mainly number 9, carrying my bag because I wasn't allowed to pull my cart because he was like, "You're not a girl." And so
I love it. I love the attitude.
I would play there, and then I worked at the Hyatt, and so I spent hours and hours and hours on the range, on the putting green. I learned how to flop on the chipping green. Like I spent my whole childhood at the Hyatt. So when I had started working and I had my son, I had told my better half, I was like, you know, one of my lifelong goals is to be a member at the Hyatt. And so he was like, let's make it happen. And so we became members, and to have a family membership at the Hyatt, it was amazing. Like I would take my son, we would make it a thing. And when we finally like broke it down, like I would go there every day and then I'd play as much as I possibly could. We equated it to $20. Every time we went out there would be $20 to go play the Hyatt. And it was
I hope Ashley's listening, because Ashley like sent me a friend request. The head pro out there, she sent me a friend request like a month ago, and I said, this name sounds so familiar. And then I had to do some little Facebook stalking, right, and some Facebook researching, and I said, okay, hey, I know who she is, so I'm hoping she's listening to you, Ally. I'm hoping she's listening to you.
Well, I know that they have to make money, right? They are a business. They have to do what's best for them. But when they increased the membership prices, they went from like $7,000 as a family package to like $14,000-$15,000. I was like, first off, I'm a teacher. I can't afford that. But 2, I was talking with, other colleagues. I'm like, even if we could afford that, nothing's going to fucking change. Like it's going to stay the exact same.
And then that membership is only valid Monday through Thursday.
And they don't even have the area where I grew up. Like, they took the driving range, the
lagoon. It better work out for. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
But you have to keep up with times. I think okay, again, I don't have history here. I don't have that loyalty to Hyatt, but like they just dropped my high school stadium. It didn't really affect me because I'm like, it was small. We were behind on stuff. So I'm kind of new. I like to adapt to like new things, and maybe it's going to be for the best. But again, like I see your point, Ally, 100%. But again, like you have history with it. I don't really have history with Hyatt. So to me, it was just like,
We'll see. I look at that too. I mean, Brucey, I understand your point because not having any loyalty to that course. Ally, you worked there, and I think same thing went for me when I marshaled at Northcliffe, and when Northcliffe was being closed, I hadn't been back there in years. It broke my freaking heart, right? Because I felt like I was playing 18. I was playing 36, 54. I was just hopping on, and I wouldn't leave that freaking course because again, like, and I felt like that's when I was like honing my game. So I'm sure that's the same feeling you have. And so we understand that, you know what, that golf is hot. Everybody's making money. Even Silverhorn and Lock and Terra's memberships are only Monday through Thursday as well. You can't get, you know what, even the quarry, you can't get a great rate unless you are a member out at the quarry, and that paying that. Some people have like an introduction or that yearly rate. They only pay $200 because they got in so early. They keep that same rate. Now it's like $500, $600. There's like a 99 person waiting list to get to be a member at the quarry. But you have some great courses as part of this Beltway Junior Golf Tour. You have some great courses on there. Fort Sam has made their way back. Mission Del Lago, Mission Del Lago. I'm hoping it's on its way right here. You got a beast, a beauty and a beast of Golf Club of Texas, which is a favorite track of ours that I think it kind of changes things up in regards to a good amount.
The bar, though. The bar.
Well, now, really quickly, I do have to say that when they had told us that they were going to increase the prices at the Hyatt, I legit was depressed for like 3 days. I seriously contemplated breaking all of the clubs in my bag because I was like, what am I going to do with these? I'm not going to be able to do anything with them. I'm not going to be able to play golf anymore because that fucking went out the window. And so it was just like, I went through like, I didn't go to school for 2 days. Like I was really
depressed.
And then when I came back, my principal had asked me because
is everything okay?
Are you? He's like,
she went all gone,
and I was like, they increased the membership at the Hyatt, and I'm like in tears, and he's like, I thought someone died, and I was like, somebody should have. Like that's literally what happened.
A bucket of ice cream, watching TV, right?
Damn, Allie.
Crazy.
Dang, Allie.
Now I feel bad.
Allie, you know what? I'm having to fight these guys off over here. Everyone, look, see all these like Jeremiah Sierra, get in line. You know what? You are a catch. You're a catch. All right. You're a golf catch.
You see what I see.
I know, right? Look, Joe Tejeda right here. I know you mentioned Marbach Road, but I'm convinced you're from Tennessee.
I don't know what that means, but
you got a country, you know, you got a country accent vibe going on. It don't sound like Marbach. That's for damn sure.
What he meant by it was you're the only 10 I see.
Oh,
that's a pickup line.
I don't know. I don't know because I'm not smooth.
I know you're not. I know you're not from Alabama, but you must be from Tennessee because you're the only 10 I see. Andy, where you been? Like
I had to let my stellar personality do all the talking.
Because when I read it on the side, I was like, at first I was like, Tennessee, like Knoxville,
dude. Okay, hey.
Then I'm like,
there you go. You know what? That's why we keep Brucey around for translating things like
because
that.
I was dumb at pickup lines, and this is gonna be off topic, but when I first picked up my wife,
TikTok helped you.
Yeah, no. When I first picked up my wife in high school, remember we had payphones. You had payphones. They went from 25 cents to 35 cents.
Damn.
So, and the line was, can I borrow a quarter? You say, well, why? Because I'm going to call the girl and just tell her, I'm going to call my mom and tell her I just met the girl of my dreams. So when I told my wife that, she was like, it's 35 cents now. And I was like, sorry. Like, dang, like I almost had it, right? Like, any pickup lines, I was good at pickup lines.
All right. Thank you. You know what, guys? Okay, we're gonna turn the comments off, guys. Thank you. So Allie, you have this great tour, and you play every Tuesdays. The kids get a chance to play some not so great tracks. They get a chance to play. You know what? You got some Zoysia courses, you got Bermuda, and then you got Alsatian that does overseed with bent grass. So, and then you get to play, you know what? A new setup, because I think, what is it on hole 9 at hole 9 on, is it creeks or lakes? That it's got that they have that green, because now it's the putting green, the double green that you would finish off on both on the Oaks and the lakes, or is it lake? No, creeks.
The creeks and Oaks.
Okay, creeks and Oaks. Now that double, the big putting, the shared putting green, it is now like the short game area. It's now the putting green. It's crazy because that was a great finishing hole. So now on hole 9 at Creeks, it's a par 4, and the green is kind of like tucked away in the back. That's got to break your heart right there.
I honestly, I haven't played it since they upped the membership. And honestly, the whole reason why we ended up getting the membership in the first place was because it was a lifelong dream. But literally the day before, I had played in a scramble tournament, and I got my first hole in one. It was on number 1 creeks, right to the left.
Oh yeah, it's drivable. It's
To the
drivable.
left,
Yeah.
to the left of the driving range. It was our last hole.
Hold on, you got a hole in one?
I was going with the wind. It was 298 to
That's a par 4.
That's a par 4.
Well, it's a par 3 right now, but it's a par 4.
It was a
But
par
it's a
4.
drivable par 4.
But I was going with the wind. I mean, it was a pretty significant wind, but I just like cranked it right down the pipe. It went around the bunker, up on the green, and then it just disappeared. And I about lost my shit. I think I had given, my son was like 2 years old. And so I start screaming. Everyone on the range starts screaming. And I was like, oh my God, I peed my pants. And so like, it was just like, it was incredible. And we ended up winning that tournament by 1 shot. And second place, they were all pissy because they were, I mean, in second, obviously, but I was like, bro, like I made a hole in one. Like, how are you gonna?
Dude, that is an ultimate.
Yeah,
that's an ultimate
that's
flex.
A flex. That's a flex.
So we have a lot of good stuff going on for junior golfers. How do you think it is for high school? Our high school junior golfers, are they getting out of SA? Are they getting more of those bites to go play collegiate golf from a boys and girls standpoint?
So that is a great question. I've been kind of mowing that over all year long. With the limited courses, it's difficult for us to go and pick places to practice because at the beginning of the year, we didn't have access to Cedar Creek. And so I was actually driving from Helotes all the way to Lackland because I feel like Lackland is just a hidden gem, right? Like if you can get on, you have the entire course to yourselves. And so we were driving all the way over there to practice, and it was great. Whereas, the majority of the other high schools, they were all going to Golf Club of Texas, and they were fighting for tee times and practice space on the driving range. And so
that's tough. I don't mean to cut you off, but I know that's tough. But
is.
you want these general managers and these leaders of these courses, you want them to keep to keep the doors open for for these schools, and that makes it tough in regards because Northside's a freaking huge district. It's a huge district, but luckily enough, there are people like Bo LaHue out there that do open your facility,
and he offers everything. Like he's got the driving range, the chipping area, the putting green.
But you have to remember that like Our Lady of the Lake practices out there, and the high schools, and they have public play. So in my mind as a high school coach, Bo is absolutely amazing. I love him. He's great. But how am I going to maximize the most practice out of the time that I have with these kids, right? And so I would take them to Lackland because the amount of time that we would have to wait for a spot, that was our driving time. And then once we got there, guess what? We had the whole course to ourselves. We could just unleash them on every hole, and they could go and they would practice. So when Cedar opened, it was so beneficial because it's literally right down the street from us. And we the guys that work there are amazing. They have been so helpful with us as far as tee times. And I feel like the general public, they just know, like, I'm not going to go play at Cedar Creek on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4:00 till whenever.
And that's smart, right? And that's smart. Cedar's already, because you have a lot of amateurs not playing already from the proper tee box, and then you have high schools out there
talk all the time,
but you have to understand what you get yourself into, and I think that is a great course to practice at as well. Now, does the trail, or does because we know what Golf Club of Texas does, the trail really try to take care of the public high schools as well?
We have a wonderful relationship with Alamo City.
What kind of smirk is that? I don't know. That looked
okay. So I'm a part of the Texas High School Coaches Association, right? And last year we had Coach Poppy on from Smithson Valley on the show, right? And I was at the state coaches roundtable, right? And Coach Brent from Alamo Heights, and you got coaches from Austin Westlake, you got coaches from at Liberty, you got Indian Wells everywhere. There were so many. There was about 8 state championship coaches, boys and girls, at all different classifications. And I think one of the questions I had was, how important is it as a coach to have a great relationship with the course management? And
it's so important. Like I know Coach Brian Heath, he had a phenomenal relationship with the people at Alamo City Courses. And I wish that we were able to kind of take over that relationship. But I mean, like you build connections with different people, and it's special and it's unique. And so I am currently trying to build that relationship so that way they have a similar relationship with me. But like I have a great relationship with Lachlan and Robert, and unfortunately, it's just a little bit too far, out of the way. I mean, on a yellow dot,
yeah, definitely.
It's a good 30 minutes to get there. And so, just trying to network and just trying to have those open options, but it's difficult. I know Mr. Morales at Oak Valley, which is also right down the street from us. He has been so amazing to the O'Connor program. And every time, we go out there, he pretty much like tells everyone else like y'all can't be here because O'Connor is coming. And so he
love Oak Valley. Love Oak Valley.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean,
shot higher there, but I love it.
yeah. I was like, I'm in the high 30s out there. But and I think that's one thing that Brucey and I always talk about on the show is that besides being, just about the golf, it's about the relationships you build.
Yep,
and so now being at a different school, and like you stated, it's going to take your time to kind of like root yourself into these relationships. But I think if anybody gets to know you and knows what you're about and knows what you're about for your kids, I don't think you're going to have any problem making those friendships and those relationships.
Yeah.
Well, and that's how I met you, Andy. Like I met you through Coach Arnie, and the only reason why I got to work with Coach Arnie is because of Robert. He happened to just kind of ask a few people like, hey, I'm looking for a female golf coach. And I think Robert and I don't remember who the other person was. They both said my name, and he was like, hold on, I've heard this chick's names twice already. So maybe she's got something to her. And so I ended up working for Our Lady of the Lake. We played in a scramble, and I think it was Our Lady of the Lake.
Yeah. And you know what? You kind of intimidated me because I was like, this chick is super competitive. I like it, but I'm scared of it. But I like it. I like that I'm scared of it. So, all right. And so the third part of that question is, how do you feel in regards to female golfers? Are they getting their name out there? Are they taking those bites? Because it being a girl dad and being a coach, female golf is like the number one unclaimed college scholarship out there, and I'm sure you've heard that several times several times as a coach.
Even 20 years ago when I was applying for colleges, I do think that it's a little bit easier now with social media to get your name out there. I know as a high school and a college coach, there are certain things that we look for. We are able to stalk on social media. Instagram. I know TikToks have been really big lately because I think that the biggest thing that as a college assistant coach, one thing that I want to see is your swing. Like the numbers on a paper, they don't really mean anything to me because it could have been windy. It could have been perfect conditions. The greens could have been crap. Like there could have been a million different reasons as to why you shot what you shot. But if I can see your swing and if I can see potential in it, then come to me right now.
So you're telling me that you're not just about the numbers, because some people on this show are all about the numbers.
Yeah.
No, you had sent me some bullet points. I feel like there's an underlying joke.
No, there's an underlying.
No, it's just because Brucey, we always talk about men lie, women lie, numbers they don't lie. But I think it's just you play collegiate, you played high school, you coach both now currently, and you're kicking ass at it. My point I always try to make to Brucey is that you can't just be about the numbers. You have to be about the feels. It's we say a lot of times the eye test, right? I think it's just when you see something up close and personal, when you're on the sidelines as opposed to be in the stands, you kind of pick up things. When a kid loses a game or maybe plays a bad round, you're looking as a coach or as a college coach, how does that kid respond? Do they put the flag back in? Are they pouting? Are they a gentleman? Can they look you in the eye and shake your hand? Are they going to write down the correct score when maybe can they assess a penalty on themselves? And I always look at, as a coach, I'm hoping as a coach, those are the things you see as well, because we look at, and we always say those are the intangibles, right? The things that are unseen. And that's what I always try to tell Brucey and teach Brucey is that you can't just be about the numbers.
Yeah, I completely agree. Some of my best rounds that I've ever played were in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like they were nowhere near what my average should have been at that time or was at that time. But because perfect. Like we're talking about going to nationals next week. And so with my girls, I was talking to one of my seniors. I was like, yeah, as a player, I got to go to nationals. I was like, I went to nationals twice as an individual. I went to Michigan 1 year, and it was 33 degrees. They wouldn't call it unless it was freezing cold. So 30. So by 1 degree, they wouldn't call it. It was 20-mile-an-hour winds. It was raining. It was so cold. And I remember it was a par 3. I was going uphill. I want to say it was like 120, which is what I would normally hit, like my 9-iron, a hard 9, maybe easy 8. And I hit my driver, and I could not get it on the green.
That sounds like Bruce. That sounds like Bruce. That sounds like Brucey.
It was just so like there was no way that you could judge my round just based off of the numbers alone. And I do tell the kids all the time, like when they hit a bad shot and it ends up being okay, I'm like, you know what? There's no pictures on the scorecard because it doesn't tell a story. All it does is just give you one aspect of what happened on that hole.
And go ahead. Sorry, Andy.
No, go for it, brother.
My question was going to be like, and like you kind of said it already, but I just want to ask it again. Is that like, does like the level of competition matter? So when you said, and I think you went to, I want to look at their swing. So I say, like, if I was in the college level and I'm trying to recruit golfers and I'm like, okay, well, hey, they have these kids from 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, so on and so on. I guess like in sports, and I'm maybe using different sports, but in football, you can say, well, hey, the level of 6A football compared to 1A football is totally different. So this guy's playing against monsters. This guy's playing against schools that have smaller people. In golf, I think you just nailed it, but I just wanted to ask it. You nailed it. Like, I don't care if he's playing against 6A guys that have all the bells and whistles. Hey, this guy's got his swing is pure, or this lady's got this swing is pure. Like, it doesn't matter if she played 6-man golf. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And I was going to agree because we were fortunate when I was at Warren, we didn't have a team, but we had, some individual golfers. And one of my individual golfers, she was amazing. She ended up not going to play in college because she wanted to focus on her academics, but that didn't break my heart at all. And so she was so good, though, that she got invited to go play in Swing for a Cure. And this is a tournament that's coveted every single year. You are invite only, and it had the 1A champions, the 1A state champions, the 2A state champions, 3A, 4A, 5A, and 6A state champions. And what was really cool was they put all the and it was girls only because it was for breast cancer awareness, but they put all the girls in a circle. We said a little prayer. We talked about breast cancer awareness. And then he was like, okay, how many of you guys won your district? And everyone moved closer to the circle. And then he said, how many of y'all won your regional tournament? And I think 95% of them all moved up. And then he said, how many of y'all placed first or second in state? And again, like 80% of them went. And then he was like, how many of y'all won state? And it was like 75%. Like, it was just like, he was like, nowhere in Texas will you find a more competitive tournament than this. And to have those caliber of girls at that level, like, it was dog eat dog. And it was just the most amazing golf I've ever seen in my entire life. And it didn't matter if you were 6A or if you were 1A, like, you guys, they were all shooting even par, and it was at Brackenridge. And it was great. It was such a great tournament to go to.
Yeah. Survival of the fittest.
That sounds so badass. I love to hear that. And we always talk about iron sharpens iron, right? And so you have the best teams. Now, the time you couldn't make that tournament and you threw me to the wolves, right, at that FCA tournament, we played behind the Reagan varsity girls, and that was when no, don't be sorry. It was an awesome tournament. Hey, played golf for free, ate for free, played at Canyon Springs. Hey, I'm not complaining, but
when I didn't go, it's because I went to go qualify for the mid-am, so I had a legit reason.
You did, but we played behind the Reagan varsity girls team that won state, and they were dropping dimes left and right, and I was just like, why? I was like, man, their pace of play was so fast too. I mean, it was so fast. They were awesome. All right, so Ally, we've kept you on long enough. The last thing we're gonna finish out here. You're gonna be competing for the mid-am to be played out at Pebble. It's gonna be the qualifying round. The qualifying round is gonna be out at Houston Country Club. You talked to us just a little bit before we got on air. Now, you love the game, right? You're still a grinder. You're still a player. What are your hopes and aspirations in regards to trying to compete at this qualifier for the Mid-Am?
So this, I think 5 years ago was when I first qualified for the Mid-Am, and I was very fortunate to have my grandparents go with me, and we drove all the way to Arizona, and it was such a great time, and I absolutely loved it. The next year, I didn't have the funds, and I didn't have the time off from school, but I still wanted to qualify. I felt like I still needed to prove that to myself. So I went and I qualified, and then I forgave my spot. So the alternate ended up going because I couldn't go. And then these past 2 years, I just wasn't, there was a lot of things going on in my life and I just wasn't in the right mental headspace. I know that we've talked about that a few times to be able to go. So when I finally got to a point where I was like, you know what, I feel like I'm in fighting shape now. I looked to see where it was going to be at, and it's going to be at Pebble. And that is just, I mean, a bucket list item right there. So just to be able to go and be there is just going to be a lifelong dream, like checked, right? And so
we talked about that, Andy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's such a great feeling. Like every time I think about it, I'm just like, oh, and like I was telling you guys earlier, like I really hope that when I do qualify at Houston Country Club, that the pins are in the same places, because I know exactly where the pin is going to be on 16. Like that's just a gnarly fucking like hill, and I need to be like below the pin so that way I have an uphill putt. Regardless though, but like I play those holes in my mind before I go to sleep, just knowing that like I have to execute my shots the best way that I know how, so that way I can go to Pebble. Because I mean, like I said, I've been playing golf for about 25 years, and this has been something that I've been wanting to do for a quarter.
Who's your golfer? Who's your golfer that you like either?
Stop, bro. Stop. Say it. Just say it. We all
Tiger Woods.
Tiger. Stop. It's Tiger.
Oh, no, but I was gonna talk about lady golfer. I didn't say.
Oh,
he didn't.
Yeah.
Let him get there. Ali. Let him get there.
I'm a slow getter.
We know.
It's a long time to get
go.
there.
Okay, get there.
I go through all the roads, but no.
So when I was growing up, my grandpa taught me everything. He's ex-military. You know, I would be like, Grandpa, can I get one of those push carts? Those look really cool. And he's like, what are you, a girl? And I'm like, I guess not. Like I just wasn't raised to hit the ball like a girl. And I know that that's very politically incorrect nowadays, but that's just kind of how I was raised. So when I grew up, like we didn't have a TrackMan that would tell me my swing speed, and it would tell me like what my club was doing on impact. Like I had to feel all of that stuff. It was hours and hours on the range. Like if I put my driver in the back of my stance, how is that going to be different from putting it in the front of my stance? And when I'm hitting out of trees, why do I not want to hit a pitching wedge instead of a 5-iron? Like, you know, I experimented a lot with all that stuff because we didn't have the technology that we do now. And so when I was growing up, there just wasn't Annika Sorensen. She was a really great player, but like she just wasn't as captivating as Tiger. Like when Tiger was going to play in a tournament, everyone asked who's coming in second. You know, and I started playing golf in 1998, and so Tiger was the prime time for 2000s, and so it was just like every Saturday, like me and Grandpa, like we would sit on the living room floor with our backs to the couches, and we would watch. And if Tiger won, which we know he did 95% of the time, and the Cowboys won, and the Spurs won.
There you go.
Hey, Ali, I love you. I'm just gonna say it. I love you,
dude. Right, bro. If you would have said Astros, I'm like,
no.
Because that messes with your golf swing.
Thank you. See,
it's good to watch, though. It's good to watch.
Thank you. So, and Ali, as we say that, you know what, we love to hear that this is your thoughts, right? This is your thoughts because this is what, you know, it's like those TikToks or like those memes. It's like, what do you guys really want? We want Tiger to win another major. We want to see him. We want to see him win another major, right?
And I really want him to win the Masters, because the Masters is at the same course every year. The only different factor is going to be the weather. That's going to be the only thing that's going to be different from year to year, because with the U.S. Open, it's at a new course. And I feel like the U.S. Open, they always make it so hard. And at the British Open, I can't stay awake long enough to cheer them on because I know that they can hear me.
I always fall asleep. I always fall asleep. And I have to watch the highlights. I have to watch the highlights later.
Yes.
You know what? I have to watch the highlights later. We got some. Okay.
But whenever I see those TikToks, I'm like, dude, that's me. Like I'm the dude, and it's roles reversed.
There you go. See?
It's crazy that you said that, because my son literally told me the other day, he was like, Mom, I think you should have been born a dude. And I was like, why do you say that?
You wouldn't be.
You're definitely a chick that you could come and smoke a stogie and have a drink and play in my group every single time right here. Okay, we got some comments. We're gonna finish out here. Jeremiah Sierra, please don't look at Brucey's swing, please. You will quit golf.
I doubt that. I think you just need a good instructor.
There you go, right there. He needs a good instructor. He needs more than that.
See, but when I hit, they call it the John Rahm because I don't come.
No, it's not even that. It's half the John Rahm. Right here, Joe Tejeda, 9:30 and still 10 viewers. There's more than 10 viewers. Brucey, tell him there's more than 10 viewers.
Tell him. He doesn't see what
I know. He doesn't see everything right here. Look, Rudy Cadillo, dibs on being her caddy right there. Joe Tejeda, we are some perros. Jeremiah Sierra, go to sleep right there. Oh, here you go. Right here. Look, Jeremiah Sierra, got to keep the viewer numbers up. Thank you, Rudy. Thank you, man. Thank you right there. All right, Allie. We're so thankful to have you on the show.
Thank you guys.
We so appreciate your time and your honesty, your candidness. You've made a lot of friends tonight,
being humble. Yeah.
And we wish you and Our Lady of the Lake, the female golf team, we wish you all the best out at nationals out there in Michigan. All right, go kick some ass. All right.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate this opportunity.
All right, you have a good night.
Y'all too. Bye.
Bye.
That was awesome, bro.
Dude. She's a badass, bro.
Bad dude, she's like the female John Wick, bro, like of golf, dude. Like
John Wick,
bro, like for real, bro, for real.
Oh, dude,
crazy, bro.
She's awesome. She's awesome, and I know she. I guess how do I say this? Like, I'm super proud that she's in the same profession as me, right?
Right.
Because I think
you can relate a lot more.
It's all about fitting the needs of your student athletes. And I think she's played. It's like I told you, it's like some things you can explain and some things, you don't understand. And same thing goes for me. Like, I would never understand what it's like to go play nationals in the collegiate level. Like, I won't, that's something I do not understand those feelings. She knows what it's like to be up at that tee box, your team depending on you, playing out in Michigan, playing out in these different tournaments. And you know what? It seems like she, and because of that, that has shaped her. Yeah, that excelled at it too. That has shaped her to what type of coach she is. She's been in those situations, and when asked her about dealing with the poor conditions, she had a great strategy. And I think that's what, as a coach, you have to control. You have to control the controllables, and I love that about her. And she's pretty sweet on the ice too. Like, I mean, sweet on the ice, great golf game, man, dude. Gosh, she's a hell of a catch. That's all I'm saying.
I noticed y'all were talking. I just went on Amazon, bought Esther a set. And I'm like, Esther, Addie's giving lessons, bro. You gotta go over there, go get lessons.
Look at that, Sergio Albendaño. Why did the viewer numbers drop so quick?
I don't know.
We have zero clue.
What was it?
We have zero clue. Right? Look, Rudy Cadillo, her Facebook friend request tripled.
Bro.
All right, bro. So as we're thankful to have Allie on the show. She was freaking awesome. You know what? You go down the list of some of those courses, right? She talked about how Lackland, and we know how Lackland is. We talk about Golf Club of Texas, how great of a spot it is in our heart too. We have these favorites. We have Alsatian, which is another top course. She talked about those relationships. She kind of hinted, and her voice got high, right? Her voice got high in regards to some relationships and some friendships, and we deal with that too. We do on the podcast side. We're thankful to have we're thankful for Dustin out at the quarry, who can acknowledge our podcast, right? Can acknowledge us is what we do in the golf community. We have Jadon out there at Silverhorn, who does a great job. Robert is our brother, does a great job, and he helps us out a lot. Bo always being super accommodating, and with the great course to go with it, is always kind and is always letting us know how many rounds they're doing, what they're doing to keep up with the course, what are they doing
about the numbers. He's real open about it.
And we talk about the Anthony Cantu out of La Cantera. And you know what? We talk about the leadership of these courses. and how we're thankful to you know what, that they give us the time of day, because you know what, a lot of courses, what is their first response to us?
Hey, it is what it is.
No, it's no,
yeah.
it's no, right? It's
Yeah.
no, and I think that's where nowadays there's a lot of golfers. Ali said it. There's a lot of golfers.
Hot right now, bro.
Everybody's fighting for that buck. What are you doing extra, right? What are you doing extra? Are you picking up the pace of play? Is it family friendly? Can your kids go out there, chip and putt while maybe you go play a hot 9? Can you go have dinner there? Can you have drinks afterwards? Can you hit the range? Is the range lit up? Do you have good golf balls? And I think, you know what, we talk about Golf Club of Texas is one of those courses that
offers everything.
That offers everything. And I think we kind of get pissed sometimes. You know what? We get pissed about getting stopped so many times, right, by employees. Maybe they think we're up to no good or whatever. But I look at that as from a customer standpoint, I was like, I like that, because that means they're checking up on you. They're checking the water jugs.
Pace of play is big for me. So I'm glad that you're doing that. Hey, man, y'all are a little bit behind, but you're right, you two, where it's like, you have like a what is it, like a presence out there, right? So now you know that there is somebody driving around. So some of these guys are gonna not do things that they would do at a course that's real open and real, just like, hey, go with vibes.
I like that. I like that. And you know what? And I like, we always like to talk about those courses that are doing those things. And again, because everyone's fighting for the same dollar, right? Everyone's fighting for the same dollar. Everyone's fighting for the same buck. And we appreciate those relationships. And I hope that Ali's able to get those relationships and make those relationships to help her program. And you know what? I know she already has those. And I'm hoping that, you know, she keeps kind of going down that road. I know, you know, I'm not going to put all her business out there, but I know a position came up for UTSA, an assistant position last year. And you know what? She asked my help, and I tried like hell. And I'm like, man, maybe you would have done better without me inquiring for you, right? Maybe I hurt her. Maybe that's what it was, Boosie. Maybe I hurt her, right?
They look back at your transcripts and said, nah, this guy's not viable. He's not a good reference.
He's not. And so
he never came to class.
And so that's one thing that we try to do, right? We try to be honest on the show. We try to put it all out there. And a lot of people say, "Oh, we kiss these courses' ass, and we only talk them up." But you know what? We'll say something.
But you have to give credit where credit is due, though, right? Like, you want to give credit, and like the way we're like, sometimes we talk like, "Hey, course conditions on the trails," but hey, how about the courses that are doing their due diligence and doing what they have to do,
being proactive instead of reactive?
Exactly. So hey, if we're gonna talk bad or say, hey guys, this is what's out there, don't go out there. Hey, this is what's also good, and these guys are going above and beyond and work. Hey, customer clients are asking for this, asking for that, and they've delivered. You wanted faster pace of play, they're doing it. You wanted
lighted range.
You wanted better food instead of just hot dogs and burgers. Hey, they got Phillies. Hey, they got wings. Hey, they got this. Hey, they got that. Do you know what I mean? So you have to give credit where credit is due.
And I think those things are too, and you have to make it. I think some courses that offer that membership, right? I think they offer these memberships in these different tiers. You know, different. It's a different. We say different strokes for different folks, right? Like, is it the type of membership that you can have where you can play unlimited, right? And you know what, we do know Golf Club of Texas is one of those ones that have different tiers, right? They have different tiers, and it's like you kind of get that country club feel without those country club prices, right? And those country club commitments, right? And and we tell a lot of people, because you see it today. People are like, I don't know if they're being dumb or whatever. Like, how's Riverside? Like,
dude.
I don't know. It's like how's Riverside? Look, and Jadon right here. Right here, Jadon right here. Communication is key. 100%. And I think the thing is, and again, you know what? Jadon is one of those guys that the door's always open. The door. I don't know if he's got to do that for HR purposes, but you know what? We appreciate those GMs Honestly, and those leadership that you see them. You see them. You see them out on their course. You see them out on their course. You see them out on the range. You see them with their maintenance crew. You see them with their agronomists. You see them out there with their supers. You see them running the front desk. You see them behind the kitchen. And you know what? You see a lot of these guys, and I place a high value on that, because you know what? There's some courses that you don't see the leadership. You don't see the management. You don't see the people who run the course, right?
Or like they're even commenting on San Antonio golfers or on these pages, and they're giving their expertise or their experience or their knowledge. So they're engaged. Like, not only do you get to see them in person, but you see them engaged. They're answering questions that golfers have. It's like, dude, sometimes when you hear that, you're like, hey, well, this guy is involved.
Well, and a lot of times
cares about stuff.
And they respond to the good comments too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not just the bad, the good ones.
Again, I think that's where some courses have a problem.
Yeah.
They only
always against the wall.
They only respond when negative comments are made or multiple negative comments are made, right? All right, Brucey. So who are your final shout outs to here, brother?
Hey man, I got to give credit where credit is due, man. And I'm going to share a page right here. Or I don't know if you can share it. You think you can share it? I can't share it on my page.
I got you, brother.
Okay. So, yeah, man. So this is a good friend of mine. His son was doing the drive, chip, and putt. I believe he's like 5 years old, playing with the big boys. He ended up getting second place. I think you could tell off the bat. He's a small boy, but man, I want to give him credit to the fact to where we just talked about relationships, right? We talked about relationships. I sold this guy a
bad club, a faulty club. Say it. Let's be honest.
A push cart. I upgraded to a 4-wheel.
One of the wheels was broken.
Stop, Andy. Stop. So I upgraded to a 4-wheel, this and this, and he was like, he commented right away. He was like, hey man, my son golfs like this and this, and sometimes people will text you just to kind of have you lower the price, whatever. But I was like, you know what, dude? Like, just take it off my hands, man. So he took it off my hands, and all of a sudden, dude, like, we're keeping communication. And dude, now, like, I've never met the dude personally, but just because we are texting and commenting, and then when he sent me these pictures about his son, hey man, I'm trying to give my son better stuff. Hey man, I want him to stop walking and use a push cart. So bottom line, man, is like I'm seeing his dad do that like most parents sometimes don't even sometimes care about. This guy's like wanting to give his son the best and do his best, and that's
the best opportunity to be successful.
So you take away all the excuses. So now it's like, hey, well, I had to walk. I didn't have a push cart. Hey, I didn't have an umbrella. Hey, you won't give me like the best clubs. Or whatever. All those things make a difference right here. Look, Joe Tejeda, he used Andy's wedge.
He did. Hey, my wedges are solid. My wedges are so good. Brucey's giving them away.
I am, bro. And I'm sorry for that, bro. But hey, man, it is what it is. But no, man, I just want to give him credit. The dad's name is Steve Hassel. He's from the Valley, bro. So this happened in the Valley, right? But
it changes everything. I don't validate it. You got to, bro. Well, congrats to this young man, and I love
call him Mr. Hassel.
And I love to see it, little Hassel. I love to see it. Congrats. I hope we're going to be hearing about him later on. About bigger and better things, and making it and winning and heading to Augusta as part of that drive, chip, and putt. Man, great shout out right here. Jadon right here. Let's watch Maya hit a chip. Oh, hey, Maya's solid, bro. Maya's solid. His game's coming back. Okay, Brucey, that's a great shout out right there, brother. So my shout out goes to, I asked for a picture, but he didn't send me one. Goes out to a good buddy of ours, Saul Figueroa's daughter, Neve Figueroa. She plays for Prairie View A&M out there in Houston. Her and her squad made it out to the PGA Works championship. This is kind of like the teams that are sub Division 1 or like they're Division 1, but they kind of fall outside of a certain range. Now we saw him on TV. I'm really proud. This was her first year playing. We say a big boy or big girl golf, right, out in Division 1, and really proud of her. Saul said that she didn't play the best, that she didn't have the best 2 days, and she was pretty disappointed. But he said, "Mija, you live and you learn." And we wanted to give her a shout out. Saul is always an avid viewer and watcher of the show. And Neve, we're so proud of you and so proud of all the work. And I asked him straight up, bro. I asked him right there. Look, here we go. J.R. Garcia right here. J.R. Garcia right here. I'm a Prairie View A&M alum. Saw her at Whistling Straits. Wow. And I'm sure her and her squad made you proud, JR. And I asked him straight up, bro, like no lie. Again, nothing is OB on the show. I said, so is she going to parlay this into right there, JR again? Heck yeah, Prairie View University, baby. I said, is she gonna parlay this into hitting the portal because of the year that she did have? And he said, no, she's not. He said she wants to get better. She loves competing, and she's going to come back bigger, stronger, and better than ever. And I said, you know what? Again, so many kids, what are they doing? They're hopping ship. They're hopping ship. They're hopping ship. Yeah, and you know what? I love that about her. Great family, great people, and really proud of Neve. And Neve, we wish you nothing but the best, baby. Right here. Again, last comment right here. Jared Garcia, it's great to see them doing great. They have an amazing coach now. And yes, and they're doing some great things. And I'm glad to hear right there. Hey, South Texas, baby. Houston, Texas. Prairie View A&M. Really, really happy for their program and all of their success right here. Before we get off right here, guys, we want to thank our presenting sponsor, Maximum Demolition and Dismantling. Guys, make sure you hit up our guy, Lee Ramos, for all your demolition and dismantling needs. Owner-operator, hit him up at MaximumDemo.com. He loves the dirty work. And we have been coming all night live from the Texas Chancla Studios. Make sure you hit up our guy, Jesse Hernandez, at JesseHernandezLaw.com. We're super thankful for his support and sponsorship. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Remember, in the game of life,
nothing is OB.